Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Secretary Kennedy, I want to talk to you about your relationship with this committee and this Congress. I want to talk to you about the statements that you made to the chairman of this committee and to members of this committee during your confirmation hearing about vaccines. You didn't tell the truth. I find that to be really dangerous for our relationship. If I were the chairman who believes in vaccines and voted for you because he believed what you said about supporting vaccines, my head would be exploding. In the hearing, you told us, quote, "I will not work to impound, divert, or otherwise reduce any funding appropriated by Congress for the purpose of vaccination programs." That's not the truth. You've done exactly. Let me finish my question.
Yeah, I didn't hear what you said. I'm just asking you to repeat it so I can understand your question.
During the hearing, I'll repeat it. During the hearing, you said to this committee and to the Finance Committee, "I will not work to impound, divert, or otherwise reduce funding appropriated by Congress for the purpose of vaccination programs." That is not what happened. You've done the opposite. You canceled $12 billion in grants to the states, including my state, that are used to administer and track vaccines. You promised Chairman Cassidy.
When did I do that?
Madam Chair, would you allow me to finish my question?
Keep going with your question. When did I do that?
Let me finish my question.
Accusation. Just tell me when I did it so I can understand what the question is.
You have canceled $12 billion in public health grants to states, whether you know this or not. That funding is used by the states in part to be able to administer and dispense information about vaccines. Mr. Secretary, let me give you the full panoply of
accusations,
the things you said before this committee that didn't turn out to be true. You also promised Chairman Cassidy that the FDA would not change vaccine standards from, quote, historical norms. But what happened as soon as you were sworn in? You announced new standards for vaccine approvals that you proudly referred to in your own press release as a radical departure from current practice. And experts say that that departure will delay approvals. You also said, specific to the measles vaccine, that you support the measles vaccine. But you have consistently been undermining the measles vaccine. You told the public that the vaccine wanes very quickly. You went on the Dr. Phil show and said that the measles vaccine was never fully tested for safety. You said there's fetal debris in the measles vaccine. And this morning—
All true.
This morning in front of—
Do you want me to lie to the public?
That's not— none of that is—
Of course it's true. Of course it's true, Senator. Senator, begging your progress, you do not know what you're talking about.
Hello, viewers. Welcome back to the channel that speaks truth in a time of censorship, fear, and government overreach. Today, we are looking at Senator Chris Murphy's recent meltdown. Yeah, I said it, meltdown on Capitol Hill as he tried to smear Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. over his honest, science-based skepticism of vaccine policy. Let's dive in. You heard it. The senator from Connecticut can barely contain his rage. Why? Because someone dared to question the holy grail of Big Pharma's vaccine agenda. Because RFK Jr., whether you agree with him or not, is doing something politicians in Washington are allergic to: telling the truth and demanding transparency. Murphy accuses RFK Jr. of lying to Congress. That's rich. This is the same government that told us Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. The same government that told us lockdowns were just 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And now we're supposed to believe they're shocked that someone has the courage to question vaccine funding.
For the record,
let's have a little bit of order so that you can get
Madam
your
Chair,
question and we can get
I didn't ask for a response yet.
I understand.
I'd like to lay out the predicate of my question before I'm interrupted by the witness. He should have some respect for this committee.
Go ahead.
Just this morning in front of the House of Representatives, you also said that you, in fact, would not recommend that kids get vaccinated for measles. You said you would just lay out the pros and cons. Okay, so this is the summation of everything that you have said to compromise people's faith in the measles vaccine in particular is contrary to what you said before this committee. You said you support the measles vaccine, but then you have laid out a set of facts that are contested, and I will submit information for the record from experts who contest what you have said about the vaccine, and the result is to undermine faith in the vaccine. It's kind of like saying, listen, I think you should swim in that lake, but, you know, the lake is probably toxic, and there's probably a ton of snakes and alligators in that lake, but I think you should swim in it. Nobody's going to swim in that lake if that's what you say. And so I want you to acknowledge that when you say you support the measles vaccine and then go out and repeatedly undermine the vaccine, with information that is contested by public health experts, that is not supporting the vaccine. And so I guess I have two simple questions for you. One is, can you clarify what you said in the House this morning? Are you or are you not recommending that families get their children vaccinated, or are you just giving people the pros and cons? And do you understand that when you say these things about the measles vaccine, what ends up happening is less people get the vaccine? That may be what you want, but do you understand that the result of constantly questioning the efficacy or safety of the vaccine results in less people getting the vaccine? So I don't necessarily want to spend the remaining 20 seconds in an argument over the science, but do you at least understand that that's the consequence of what you're saying? And are you actually still recommending people get the vaccine, or are you not?
Senator, if I advised you to swim in a lake that I knew there to be alligators in, wouldn't you want me to tell you there were alligators in it?
So are you recommending the measles vaccine or not?
What I've said and what I said...
It doesn't sound like you are, if that's...
Are you going to let me answer? Or are you going to keep interrupting?
Are you or are you not?
Are you going to let me answer? What I pledged before this committee during my confirmation is that I would tell the truth, that I would have radical transparency. I'm going to tell the truth about everything we know and we don't know about vaccines.
Are you recommending the measles vaccine or not?
I am not going to just tell people everything is safe and effective if I know that there's issues. I need to respect people's intelligence.
I think you're answering the question. I think you're answering
the reason
That's really dangerous for the American public and for families.
The reason people have lost faith in this program is because they've been lied to by public officials for year after year after year.
No longer recommending the measles vaccine.
Senator Marshall.
Now, they're crying about $12 billion in grants being redirected. But let's be clear, that money wasn't magically healing people. It was fueling a bloated bureaucracy, used in part to shame and harass people who made personal medical choices. Cutting that isn't undermining public health. It's restoring sanity and personal liberty. Murphy's upset that RFK Jr. changed the vaccine approval process. You know why? Because he dared to challenge the rubber stamp culture of the FDA. For decades, new drugs and vaccines have been pushed through with minimal scrutiny, often thanks to revolving doors between big pharma and the regulators. Kennedy's changes? They represent what we've been demanding: oversight, due diligence, and actual science. Now let's talk about measles. Yes, measles can be serious, but this is America. We believe in informed consent, not forced compliance. When RFK Jr. says he's giving people the pros and cons, that's called respecting freedom. You can support vaccines and believe that people deserve all the facts. But to these left-wing authoritarians, nuance equals betrayal. Oh please, this is the kind of emotional manipulation we've come to expect. Murphy's talking about alligators in a lake. Well, guess what, Senator? Americans aren't idiots. We don't need you to tell us what to think. We need you to stop treating us like children. We can hear facts and make up our own minds. Kennedy said he believes in radical transparency. Imagine that. A government official who actually wants to give you all the information, even the uncomfortable stuff. That used to be called courage. Now it's treated like heresy. They want blind obedience. Kennedy's offering informed decision-making. Let's be real. This isn't just about Kennedy. This is about silencing any voice that challenges the narrative. Whether it's doctors censored on social media, parents labeled as extremists for questioning school mandates, or independent journalists deplatformed for telling the truth. The war on free speech is real, and it's coming from both the government and the corporations they're in bed with. Murphy talks about losing faith because people like Kennedy supposedly lie. No, Senator. People lost faith because government officials like you lied. You said the vaccines would stop transmission. That was false. You said masks were effective one day, then useless the next. You mocked early treatments, censored dissent, and used fear to divide Americans. Choosing not to inject something into your body is not anti-science, it's pro-freedom. It's what this country was founded on. If we can't question government mandates, what are we? Subjects? Slaves to the system? Vaccine choice should be your decision, not something imposed by bureaucrats who wouldn't recognize accountability if it hit them in the face. Make no mistake, RFK Jr. isn't the threat. The threat is unchecked power. The threat is one-size-fits-all policies forced on millions. The threat is political elites who scream about misinformation while hiding their own conflicts of interest. Kennedy's willingness to speak out, even at the risk of political blowback, should be applauded, not attacked. So here's my message to Senator Murphy and every authoritarian in a suit. You don't own the truth. You don't own our bodies. And you sure as hell don't get to decide which science is allowed and which isn't. Americans are awake. We see through this. We're tired of the lies, the censorship, and the fear. Whether you love RFK Jr. or not, the man's fighting for something that matters: medical freedom, honesty, and accountability. And that's something every red-blooded American should stand behind.
Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate your support. Every view means a lot. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like, drop a comment to let me know your thoughts, and subscribe so you don't miss out on future content. Your support keeps this channel going. Thank you, and bye for now.